broad daylight, in the heart of Europe, a man was executed in silence.
No warning, no struggle, no words exchanged. The assassin approached from behind, raised his weapon, and fired. One shot, then another. Deliberate, controlled, final. Within seconds, the victim lay motionless on the pavement of a Berlin park, while pedestrians nearby continued their routines, unaware they had just walked past a professional killing. This was not a robbery. It was not a crime of passion. It was an operation. The shooter did not run. He did not panic. He walked calmly away, disappearing into the city like a ghost, leaving behind only questions and a body. German authorities would soon identify the victim as a former Chechen fighter, a man who had survived years of conflict and exile, only to be killed in one of Europe's most secure capitals. And the man accused of pulling the trigger? A Russian national traveling under a false identity, a trained operative, a man whose past was deliberately erased. His name was Vadim Krasikov. To the public, he was a mystery. To intelligence agencies, he was something far more dangerous. Because this killing wasn't just murder, it was a message sent across borders, a message written in gunfire, a reminder that some enemies are never forgotten and never truly beyond reach. This is the story of a man believed to be a state-sponsored assassin, a silent hitman, and a killing that would ignite one of the most serious diplomatic confrontations between Russia and the West in decades. This is Russia's Silent Hitman. The man killed in that Berlin park was not random. His name was Zelimkhan Khangoshvili, a former Chechen field commander who had fought against Russian forces during the Chechen Wars. Khangoshvili had spent years moving from country to country, seeking asylum, avoiding detection, and staying alive. To Moscow, he was an extremist. To German authorities, he was a protected asylum seeker. And to someone, somewhere, he was unfinished business. Khangoshvili had survived assassination attempts before. In 2015, gunmen targeted him in Georgia. He escaped. In Ukraine, he believed he was being watched. He fled again. By the time he arrived in Germany, he thought he had reached safety. He was wrong. On August the 23rd, 2019, Khangoshvili followed his usual routine. A walk through Kleiner Tiergarten Park. Broad daylight, public space, minimal risk, or so it seemed. That routine made him predictable. And predictability is lethal when you're being hunted by professionals. Within hours of the killing, German investigators began to notice something unusual. The suspect hadn't fled the country. He hadn't gone underground. Instead, he had calmly discarded his weapon into a river, changed clothes, and attempted to blend in, before being arrested just blocks away. When police searched him, they found something even more alarming: a Russian passport, a carefully constructed alias, and no digital footprint to support the identity he claimed. It was as if the man didn't exist. That man was Vadim Krasikov. At least, that was the name attached to the passport. German intelligence would later conclude that Krasikov was not a freelance killer, not a mercenary, and not acting alone. He was believed to be operating with direct support from the Russian state. And that conclusion would trigger consequences far beyond a single murder investigation. Because if true, this wasn't just an assassination. It was an act of international terrorism carried out on German soil. By the time the case reached a German courtroom, this was no longer just about a murder. It was about accountability. Prosecutors laid out a picture of an assassination carried out with military precision, planning that began weeks before the killing, travel arranged under false identities, and an escape route designed to erase all traces of responsibility. The evidence was meticulous. Surveillance footage tracked the suspect's movements across Berlin. Ballistics matched the weapon to the bullets recovered from the scene. Witnesses placed him in the park moments before the killing. And then there was the identity itself. The passport used by Vadim Krasikov belonged to a man who, according to records, had no past, no history, and no explanation for his presence in Germany. German intelligence called it what it appeared to be: a state-issued legend. Throughout the trial, Krasikov remained silent. He showed no emotion, no visible reaction to the evidence, no acknowledgement of the victim's family. To the court, this silence only reinforced what investigators already believed: that Krasikov was not acting as an individual, but as an instrument, a weapon pointed outward. Then came the moment that changed everything. German prosecutors formally accused the Russian state of ordering the assassination. Not implying, not suggesting, accusing. The courtroom became a diplomatic fault line. Germany expelled Russian diplomats. Russia denied involvement. Relations between the two nations deteriorated almost overnight. For Berlin, the message was clear: a foreign government had carried out an execution on German soil. For Moscow, the response was equally blunt: absolute denial, paired with silence. In December 2021, the verdict was delivered: life imprisonment. The court ruled that Krasikov had acted with premeditation, professionalism, and direct state support. It was one of the most severe sentences ever handed down in Germany for a political assassination. And yet, even as the gavel fell, many believed the story was far from over. Because men like Krasikov are not abandoned easily. And powerful governments rarely accept defeat quietly. For most convicted killers, a life sentence is the end of the story. For Vadim Krasikov, it was only a pause. Behind the scenes, diplomatic pressure continued quietly. Back-channel conversations, unspoken expectations. Because in the world of intelligence, prison is not always permanent. In August of 2024, Krasikov was released as part of a high-profile prisoner exchange between Russia and Western governments. No public apology, no admission of guilt, no acknowledgement of the court's ruling, just a transfer. When he landed in Moscow, he wasn't treated like a criminal returning home. He was welcomed. For many observers, that moment confirmed what German investigators had argued all along: that Krasikov had not acted alone and that his actions were never truly disavowed. Russian officials maintained their position: complete denial. But one moment stood out. When asked directly about Krasikov, Vladimir Putin did not condemn the killing. He did not distance the state. Instead, he praised the man as a patriot. That single statement spoke louder than any classified document ever could. The message was unmistakable. Loyalty would be rewarded. Silence would be protected. And those who carried out orders, even on foreign soil, would not be forgotten. The assassination in Berlin was not an anomaly. It was part of a pattern, a modern form of power projection, clean, deniable, and strategically effective. No missiles, no declarations of war. Just one man, one weapon, one quiet moment in a public park. For Europe, the case exposed a hard truth. Borders do not guarantee safety in an era of intelligence warfare. For dissidents and exiles, it was a warning that distance does not always mean escape. And for the world, it raised a question that remains unanswered. If a state can carry out an execution in broad daylight and later reclaim the man responsible, what does justice really look like now?